What's up, you fucking bitches?
No, no,
We're doing
no.
fucking episode 2 of World War One. Okay, the best fucking war ever. Everyone's like, oh, World War Two, World War Two. World War One's the best war. You can like Germany and World War One. They're kind of cool. Fuck yeah. Fuck you if you don't like World War One.
That's not what I was expecting. And we're
No.
sponsored by Palantir this
Yeah.
episode.
Oh my god, you and fucking Palantir every fucking episode from now on. No more.
Palantir and Bill Cosby.
Okay. No, you fuck. God damn it. All right, we're keeping that.
Yeah,
We're keeping that.
we're keeping that.
Okay. All right. So, for all of our guests who are sticking around for the third episode, we're going back to World War One. So we are focusing on the fallout right after the Archduke was murdered. Obviously, all of the countries are in shock, right? All the European countries are in shock at this point. In England, King George orders a week of mourning at court. Tsar Nicholas releases a statement of mourning, and he sends his deepest regrets to Austria. Obviously, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Kaiser Wilhelm, the Emperor of Germany, is like basically best friends with Franz Ferdinand, so he's in total shock. He's really upset. He's crying, kind of being a weird little bitch like he always is. So lots are happening. I came in really hot to start this episode.
You came in so hot. You
I
came
did.
in so
I did.
hot.
I did. I came in really hot. So yeah. I'm gonna start for this, but essentially for people who are listening, Jake and I have decided to split it up. I'm gonna take the triple. Is it the Triple Alliance? I don't know if that's what it ends as, but it's the Central Powers. So Germany and Austria-Hungary. I'm probably not going to mention in this episode, but Italy, and then somehow people don't realize this, but the Ottoman Empire eventually joins in on the side of the Central Powers, and Jake is going to handle
It is the Triple Alliance, by the way.
the Triple Alliance. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's what they're. I don't. They're the Triple Alliance or the Central Powers. I don't know if there's a difference between the two, but I know that that's that side.
Okay, good. And then we got Jake's going to do the Entente. So he's going to do, obviously, Serbia,
Russia.
Yep.
I mean, mainly the Triple Entente consisted of Britain, France, and Russia.
Yeah.
But then, like, you know, there's other, like, smaller people like Serbia that get involved.
Yeah. The countries, by the way, like, it's important now, but Austria-Hungary and Serbia are not really that important to the actual, like, war. They're just important in the beginning and the start of the war. So
yeah, it seems
they'll
like
eventually fall off.
Yeah, it seems like this is coming from years and years of like anti-German sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've been reading, is that like everybody just is shitting their pants about Germany. So there's like a bunch of alliances that formed, and like England doesn't even really have an alliance with anyone, but they have like a guarantee of Belgian neutrality that gets them involved. But it was just like a check to Germany. Anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah. So going back to what Jake said, you'll find in almost every war that the English insert themselves for no reason.
dude, they were protecting the Belgians.
Yeah, who the fuck cares about the Belgians? It's
It's
literally a country that's completely made up by the European country.
No, that's wrong. That's the Netherlands.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Central Powers. So, all right, like I said, everyone is shocked. Wilhelm's crying. He's being a little pussy. Tsar Nicholas is basically faking it and doing crocodile tears and being like, oh, sorry, Austria. And then King George is being little bitch English guy and being like, oh, we're going to mourn at court. Oh, fuck you. In Austria, you'd be surprised. Things are actually kind of mixed. So obviously the people of Austria are outraged, right? The crown prince and wife were viciously murdered. The children of the crown prince are now orphans. And what's worse, it was a Serb.
It was a Serb.
It was a Serb.
And they don't like Serbs. They don't like Slavs in general.
No. So they're very upset, but there's secretly in the Austrian government, people are a little excited, right? The chief of staff of Austria, who we're going to talk about for a pretty big portion of this, is General Franz Joseph Conrad Husendorf. I'm going to call him Conrad for the rest of the episode because it's too many.
Why do they do that? Like, I hate that I hate the names. They all have the same fucking names.
and they go on for 15, words. So
Yeah.
um, he's been jonesing for a war with Serbia. So just for some background on this guy, so he's an incredibly important figure in Austria at this time. So he was born in Vienna, like in a suburb of Vienna in 1852, November of 1852. And he kind of comes from like a line of military nobles. So his father was a colonel in the Austrian military, and he squashed this pretty big rebellion in the 18s in Vienna. I actually think he was like severely wounded. He was either maimed or something, and he wasn't able to
Who,
like
Conrad?
his father.
Okay.
And he comes from this line of military guys. So he enrolls in the, I think it's pronounced the Tertian Military Academy as a teenager. It's just like would be like
West
ROTC
Point.
for any American. If you know what ROTC is, it's kind of that. But like obviously ROTC in high school doesn't automatically make you into the military, but kind of back then it definitely did. So by nine, he's actually a lieutenant in the Austrian military, which is kind of wild for a 19-year-old to be an officer. And by 24, he's on the chief of staff for the Austrian-Hungary army. So like this guy is really talented. He's clearly a rising star in
And he
Austria.
does really well in the war, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes. Yes, everything goes perfectly fine for Conrad in like 4 years. So he keeps rising through the ranks. Like I said, he's a star. So he quashes a Italian uprising in 1902. He's this like really, really, really good military teacher. Just like a great tactician. His students love him. And by 1906, he's like arguably the most respected military person in uh, Austria-Hungary, and he is appointed the chief of general staff. So, which is like, I would imagine the best way to describe it is like our chief of staff or secretary of
Defense?
defense, probably is a good way to do it. But of the person who recommended for the job of all people is Franz Ferdinand. So Franz
Yeah.
Ferdinand, like the guy who's pretty much like a pacifist towards Serbia, appoints or recommends the guy who wants to invade Serbia. So you can see lapse of judgment for that guy. One consistent in Conrad's life is this like war with Serbia. So he believes that in 1909, when the Bosnian crisis was going on. So if you don't know what that is when Austria-Hungary actually took Bosnia. Like they declared it their part of Austria-Hungary, and Bosnia and Serbia was obviously outraged. He thought the fact that they didn't go to war and that they didn't destroy Serbia then, that was a miss. And he believes that this like Slavic nations are a real and dangerous threat to the people of Austria-Hungary, the Habsburg Empire. So one day after the assassination, Conrad has a secret meeting with the German foreign minister and demands war with Serbia. At this time, right, we're only one day after the Archduke is dead, so they don't even know like what Serbia's involvement in the assassination is. In hindsight, obviously, he's not wrong to call for it, right? Like the Black Hand
Yeah.
is
The
has so many military intelligence officers in it. There's so many Serbian nationalists and politicians involved. So he's right to call for it. He's just wrong in the fact that he doesn't have evidence at this time. So if it
right.
wasn't Serbia, he's starting a war for no reason. So the foreign minister of Germany, we're doing another long name, Leopold Baron von Adrian Werberg.
What a Chad.
What a Chad.
What a fucking that's a
Dude,
Chad name.
we're going to get into it, but I just have to mention it because I keep thinking about it. All these guys have insane mustaches, and Wilhelm, I swear to God, puts his mustache in the shape of a W. It's so sick. It's so sick.
Wait,
Please look
Kaiser
up a picture of
Wilhelm?
him. Yeah, dude, the corners of his mustache go up.
I'm checking this guy out. I'm checking this guy. Oh, whoa, he's got
Dude,
like it's like that's actually this guy was handsome.
I was going to say, he's handsome. We're going to get into him. He's got some weird
How
shit.
do we edit? We gotta edit pictures of this guy in
Yeah, we got to put him in.
because this guy was really fucking handsome. That's crazy.
Yeah. Do me a favor, pull up Leopold Baron von Adrian Werberg.
Leopold.
Yeah, good luck spelling that. I'm not giving it to you.
Leopold Adrian what?
Leopold Baron von Andrian Werberg.
Werberg.
He's
Werberg
dead.
sounds
I already
kind
know
of
he's got a
familiar.
sick mustache.
What a fucking ridiculous name. He looked like he had like the walrus
Oh,
stash. He
sick.
had like the walrus stash going on.
We're gonna need to put some pictures in this episode for the mustache.
He was really
Literally,
handsome.
I don't think there's a man in this episode that we talk about that doesn't have a mustache. Anyway, back to it. The foreign minister, Conrad's like, let's go and let's just go invade. And he goes, how about we fucking chillax for 1 minute? He's like, obviously, yeah, we're gonna use this to invade Serbia, but it's the day after. We need to solve this what they call the Serbian question, which is basically like getting rid of Serbia,
The Serbian
the
question.
Serbian question.
I still have
But
that question every day.
yeah, yeah, we're still dealing with that question.
We're still dealing with that question today.
Yeah, but he says, but we need to tread carefully, right? Let's make some demands of Serbia, and then when they say no, we'll just say fuck it, we're invading. So my next part. I want to go to you for a little bit for maybe if you want to do Serbia. It's probably the best country to go from here because I want to come back to Leopold after that.
Yeah, so I basically so Serbia, like, obviously, their government, we don't know for sure whether he was or they were in on it, whether they were in on it fully. Like, obviously there were officials and stuff that were in on it and they were in the black hand, but it's hard to say. Austria had sent an investigation crew essentially to Bosnia directly after the murder to try to see if there was any evidence of actual direct involvement with the Serbian government themselves. They didn't find anything, but that, like, I don't think that really mattered to them. I think that they just wanted to destroy Serbia, and this is like the best excuse they're gonna get
Yeah.
for something like that. So yeah, they sent like that massive ultimatum. Do you care if I go into that?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the ultimatum was like most people thought it was ridiculous, and Serbia was actually willing to comply with all of it besides one of the things, and I'll go into it really quick. There were 10 different items in the ultimatum. So suppress anti-Austrian propaganda, shut down nationalist groups, especially the Narodna Obradna or Narodna. Oh God, Odd
Naranda
Brana.
ad Brana.
Yeah, which meant for national defense. I believe, like we mentioned it last episode. So they obviously a nationalist group. Remove anti-Austrian officials. So basically, fire any Austrian or Serbian member who is very outspokenly hostile to Austria. Ban anti-Austrian teachings. So they had to remove any teachers, textbooks, blah blah blah. Punish anyone involved in the assassination. So that kind of leads into the next one, which is allow Austrian officials to participate in the investigation. And this was like the big no-no for Serbia. They were because that would kind of give Austrians power in the lands of Serbia to
Yeah.
enact what they wanted to do. So that's where they stopped. The others, what's left was stop illegal arms smuggling, explain anti-Austrian statements by Serbian officials. I don't really understand what that means.
So yeah, so because I'm going to go into a little bit of this too. I think so. We'll get into it, but Serbia does agree on some of these demands, and it does create this like problem for all of the Central Powers because they're kind of reasonable. The thing that they don't agree to is being like, no, you guys can't just like come into our country and do your investigation,
Yeah,
like
do
have
do
all this
whatever you
power.
want.
The other thing though, like removing people from public education because they like don't like Austria Hungary, like basically punishing people who say negative about Austria Hungary. It is a wild request, right? Like why, like you're imposing, like you're creating like these like anti free speech stuff on on Serbia for like Austrian Hungary sentiments. It doesn't really make any sense, but they are like willing to
Do
like
the
concede a
best
little
they
bit
can,
of
or
that.
at least pretend to
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be the other thing.
The one thing that they pretty much expressly agreed to was being like, yeah, we'll try and arrest everyone who
Yeah.
was involved. Like, we'll have trials, and we are going to arrest everyone found guilty, and for the most part, like literally execute those people.
Yeah. And they also mentioned that like they're not willing to allow Austrian officials into the land, but they were willing to bring like the trial to the Hague,
Yeah,
which at the time was like the international court that proceeded
yeah.
over, international matters.
The hog or the egg?
No idea.
I
No
think you just
clue.
called the egg the hog,
It's
like
the
a
Hague.
pig. The
Yeah,
hogs.
it's the hog. They had a pig
Jesus.
coming around.
The
Yeah,
hog, sponsored by Palantir.
that's their next product.
Yeah,
It's a hog that they
dude.
send into the battlefields and it scans people's faces.
Yeah,
It
if
scans
fucking
people
if only Austria-Hungary had fucking Palantir, they would have been able to ID all these guys like right away,
instantaneous
instantaneous.
IDing of
Yeah,
Serbian nationalists. They
fucking
would have
Peter
been put
Thiel, you
into the
weren't back there to
database.
help them.
And they could have given them a Palantir score, the
Yeah,
social credit score.
yeah,
Anyway, so obviously Austria essentially was just like, yeah, no, like that's not going
yeah.
to work. We're just going to, declare war on you. So essentially like Serbia kind of a lot of people were arguing in the sources that I was reading that like Serbia was kind of in the right here, and while I agree they were being like reasonable, I actually think that or sorry. A lot of people were arguing that Austria was being unreasonable, but like they were kind of right. I mean, granted that war is not required. Obviously, that's never like the right
Yeah.
whatever action to take. But like they wanted to investigate, and the Serbians were like, nah, like you can't do that. And then like and they were like there were high ranking officials in there like in the Black Hand, like there
Yeah.
were military officials, the leader of the intelligence agent, or like not, I don't know if they had agencies back then, but the leader of Serbian intelligence was a part of the Black Hand. um
I my like one thing. Obviously, all these countries, none of these countries are like good guys by any stretch of the imagination. But while Austria-Hungary makes like some of these 10 requests are like pretty reasonable, it's the fact that it was like sort of a false pretense for war. Like they knew they were going to get a no. They just wanted it so that they can essentially like be like, well, they didn't agree to it. What do you want us to do? Our hands are tied. We need to go to war. But like the ten things are honestly not that crazy. Like if our president was assassinated, we would demand these 10 things.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but these things are it's kind of impossible to even like actually prevent these things like especially like back then, like yeah, you could remove like anyone who's speaking out against like Austrians, but like the people themselves despise the Austrians.
Yeah. You're also going to create more terrorists by doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know, I have no fucking clue how you stop terrorism. Americans are really good at that. We're
I know how
really
to do it.
You know how to
It's
do it.
bomb weddings and peaceful places
Yeah, you got
with a
bomb
drone
wedding.
strike.
Is that reference to
Yeah.
something?
It's just I that's just from what I've grown up for the last 25 years. We know how to solve it. Bomb a wedding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you bomb a wedding and then everybody's like, "Oh, that's reasonable," and yeah, I will stop terrorizing you and your people.
Yeah. The best in you know what an even better way to do it? Hit a
What?
school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
school, hospital,
Yeah.
things like
Places where a
that.
lot of innocent people are. That really makes people say, "Oh, I don't want to I love that country for bombing
Yeah,
those
and then you
innocent
you
people."
you say that there's weapons of mass
Yeah.
destruction in your country, and then you go and invade.
We call them drone strikes, but really we should call them love bombs.
They
That's what
are
they are.
because that's what we're
Big
doing.
love bombs.
We're trying.
Yeah, we're trying to love them through bombing them and naming them. That's the best thing.
Don't you understand that we love you so much that we're
Yeah.
just bombing and taking over? We're just getting
Sponsored
rid
by
of your.
Palantir.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Palantir and Peter Thiel. He's the goat. He's Daddy Antichrist. Anyway,
We got so off topic already.
yeah, I know, but I like it. I like. I especially. I'm about to get off topic again, but I need to stop myself. Yeah. So essentially, like there's like one guy named or one, his name is Nikola. I'm assuming Pasic. He was the prime minister at the time, and this is something I didn't realize while I was actually doing the previous episode. But he actually had heard rumors of the plot against
Yeah.
the Archduke weeks before the assassination actually took place, and apparently he like told like Serbian officials in Bosnia to like prevent any attempts, but like I guess that just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so from what I know, so he did know, and I think eventually he like in public he took the stance like obviously I don't know, and I think eventually he even retracted that he didn't know. So like he lied that he didn't know, and then he was like, "Fuck it, actually I did know." I might be getting them switched up. It was either he did it the other way, but yeah, yeah, but think about that. Like, if he knew, if the prime minister knows there's going to be an attempt, they're complicit. You
Right.
know, like if they could have told the archduke, they could
Yeah,
have
they
said,
could
"Hey,
have told
someone's
the
going to fucking
Archduke. That
kill
would have
you."
made sense. Hey, I know you're coming here to like talk about how you like Serbian people or whatever. So like
Yeah,
maybe you should be aware that we're like kind of planning on killing you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you really wanted to stop it,
And at this point, like if it's cool with you, Nick, I'm gonna get into like Russia and
go
how
ahead.
they play a role into this stuff. So they kind of need a little background, like some backdrop going on, because Russia, it about 10 years prior to this, they were in the Russo-Japanese War,
Mm-hmm.
which was I don't know the specifics of why the war happened. I'm sure it was due to Russian imperial ambitions or whatever. But essentially, this was in 1905, I believe. Yeah, and I think it was from 1904 to 1905, and they lost that war, which was
Mm-hmm.
like a big deal because the Russians were the first European power to lose to an Asian power in modern history. Um,
Interesting.
so and like legitimacy, especially in like the like this area, which was still a lot about like imperialism and like projection of power. Like we're starting to get into that like sphere thing, like sphere of influence that definitely comes more into play in like that's more of a thing like once World War II hits, but the sphere of influence um it's starting to like form. It's becoming more softer forms of power rather than
Mm-hmm.
just like hard power, and a lot of nations are focusing on imperialism, and this is like the first major pushback against imperialism. Like one of the victims essentially are fighting back and actually win for like the first time ever.
Yeah. So
So
can
that
I
that's
can
a
I can
what's
I
up.
make a can I pose a theory, and you could tell me if what you researched answers it. But essentially, was the like legitimacy part of them losing that war? Was it a Europe? Russia's a European power, and Europe views the Asian countries as like basically. I would imagine at this point they're like they're not as civilized from us. So how like you have to really suck to lose to one of these countries like. How are you losing to an uncivilized country? Is that how they viewed it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
This so what happened was right before the Russo-Japanese War, I forget his name, but there was like a some important Japanese official who just he was in the military and he just like modernized the army to be able to be competitive with Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess Russia just was not prepared for that because they're used to they just weren't on the same playing field as the European powers at this time. Like they didn't have the logistics, the trains, the arms, the tactics, and then the Japanese just like kick the shit out of them, kick the shit
Yeah.
out of them on sea, and then kick the shit out of them on land, which was unheard of at this time. So yeah, it was definitely like wow, Russians can't even beat Asian guys. Like we've been beating all these fucking Asian guys and Africans around, and you guys can't beat up Asian guys now.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah, that was a big hit, and then that so a lot of historians consider the Russo-Japanese War, they call it World War Zero because it sets up a lot of
Hmm.
these things that will feed into World War One, like
Okay.
the anti-imperialism that kind of like that starts like becoming more of a thing. It sets up the Bolshevik Revolution because directly following this, 1 year after the Russo-Japanese Revolution, some sort of prior socialist parties like
Yeah.
up to the Bolsheviks. I mean,
For
a
people who
lot of
don't,
them rise up in separate cities around the
yeah.
world and start a revolution, like in St. Petersburg, Moscow,
For
and
people
then
who don't
obviously,
know,
what'd you say?
just for people who don't know, Bolsheviks are the precursors to the communists.
Yeah, to the
Yeah.
Soviets.
Yeah. Yeah. The Soviets. Sorry. Excuse me. The
Yeah.
Soviets.
So yeah, that happens there, and then also additionally, right before this, France had a the Franco Russian
Franco-Prussian.
alliance, which
Oh,
was
Franco-Russian. Yeah.
yeah, the Franco Russian alliance or Franco Russo alliance, I think, and that was specifically for the intention of Germany. Like they
Hmm.
wanted a check against Germany. So and then, but England or Great Britain, whatever, they had just formed an alliance with Japan. So there was a chance that England and France were about to go to war again. So they come together and are like, yeah, like let's not focus on like killing each other in the homeland and like let's keep doing imperialism shit. Let's just not get involved with the Japanese. And then this starts the Entente Cordiale, I think. It stands for like I don't know what it stands for. I think it's like
Yeah.
cordial something. I don't know.
This is a precursor to the
Triple
Triple
Entente.
Entente. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So this is like the first time in history where like England and France kind of are like, all right, let's just like chill out. Like let's not kill each other. And then they become more friendly. And
Yeah.
then that obviously allows them in World War One to join together to fight Germany and Austria.
Yeah. I mean, literally before World War One, like France and England are like the quintessential like worst enemies.
For literally 1,000 years.
Yeah, for literally 1,000 years.
Literally 1,000 years or more. I'm trying
Yeah.
to. Yeah, I feel like that's accurate. I
Yeah.
feel like the
Almost every war that the two of them are involved in, like in any way, like in America, it's literally it's like they're either directly fighting each other or one's fighting a army that the other one funds, or they're like fighting each other directly. It is literally not until now that they like not until like the last 100 years or so that they've gotten along.
yeah well, I don't even know if they get along now. I'm pretty sure
No.
everyone in Europe fucking despises Britain, but like yeah,
Yeah.
they get along.
Yeah. 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 They're not
Um
mortal enemies.
yeah, they're not mortal enemies.
Yeah.
So that's why like the Russo-Japanese War is like World War Zero.
Yeah.
And then so due to all this, they had like a rocky like past decade. um Tsar Nicholas is being told by a bunch of people like, "Hey, you need to like project power because like one, the Serbians are Orthodox, which is a big deal because the Austro-Hungarians, they're all Catholic, and then there's this thing called like Pan-Slavism, which is the idea that all Slavs are brothers and they need to band together against, any foreign like heritage or, ethnicities, whether it's the Turks or the Germans or, blah blah.
They use pan Slavicism or pan Slavic theory like that as a justification for war pretty much the entire time.
They still
And
do it today.
they still do it today. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what Russia, like what's going on with Russia and Ukraine kind of
Yeah.
do. Some like they say that it's their land. Like
Yeah.
that's
I just heard my dog get out from underneath the bed. So I'm about to open the door so she doesn't bark.
at least she's not in the closet. That was so good. Why was she in the closet?
She chills in the closet and she sleeps underneath my bed like a cat.
Uh, oh, okay. So
Yeah,
she
I
just
don't have
like
to
hangs
bother.
out in there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
Yeah, so they go like there's literally so Tsar Nicholas and Kaiser Wilhelm are also cousins.
Yep.
So I'm sure you read about it, the Willie Nicky telegrams.
Willie, Nikki, and Georgie. Georgie is also their cousin as
Oh,
well.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Willie and Nikki, they start like telegramming each other back and forth and shit. And the only reason why I'm talking about this is because Tsar Nicholas really didn't want to go to war.
Yeah.
So there are these things called the Russian Council of Ministers. Yeah. And half of them are pro war, like, we got to help out the Serbs. They're a little bro. Like, we got to, make sure the Germans don't keep expanding, blah, blah, blah. And then there are and when I say Germans, I'm grouping the Austro Hungarians
Yeah.
and
That's
the
fine.
Germans together. Like,
They all speak Germany.
yeah,
Speak Germany. They all speak German.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Tsar Nicholas is like, fuck, I don't know what to do. Like, Willie, help me out, help me out, Willie. And so then it just goes nowhere. They're just like, by the time that like the telegrams come through, like a bunch of shit's already transpired, and
Yeah.
like Austria's already going to war, and blah blah blah. So he literally sends out an order. He's like, mobilize all of the armies, and then he like rescinds it, and then like the way that I didn't look too much into it, but apparently the way that the Russian like logistical like fields like their trains and things like that, it was only built for full mobilization. So like he like rescinds it, and then they're like, what the fuck, like we don't what do you mean, like we're already all ready to go. And then he's like, all right, whatever, I guess just like go.
Yeah. So I'll talk to the train thing. So they I'll mention a couple times probably in the next couple episodes. They are obsessed with the train timetables because it is so hard to move. Like at this point in the 1914, 1915, like there's only trains. There's no like mass cars. There's no planes. Like they have to move by trains. And so they need to do these timetables. And so to move everyone to one side of the country, it's such a massive effort that like once you agree to it and once you start, you can't back away. And once you mobilize, the enemy is going to be like, fuck that. I have to mobilize now. I can't
Yeah,
just wait it out. So they literally, I mean, it's debated, right? Like this is one of those wars where the cause of the war is debated so much because there's so many mini mistakes and like regrets that all these people have that they just can't take back.
yeah, yeah. And it's kind of just like a strange like the alliances are already kind of formed, and like I said earlier, it's like a lot of like just anti-German
Yeah,
like sentiment, because like Germany became so powerful so quickly with the in the Franco-Prussian War. They beat the shit out of France, and then they went from Prussia, all of the German states like came
yeah,
together, which had
yeah.
never been like really done before in a
Mhm.
with an actual like strong federal government, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, because
There's
there's
no
like the
German
Holy
country
Roman.
until
Yeah,
the
there's
late
like the Holy
1800s.
Roman Empire, but they were so there was no like strong federal government in charge. There was a Kaiser who was, the big dude,
Hmm.
but like he didn't have as much power as, the Kaiser of the German Empire does.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to talk about Germany for a little bit?
Yes, I think
Okay.
we're getting to that point. We need the German talk.
Yes. So back to Leopold Baron von Adrian Warburg. So he tells we're jumping around obviously for people. Like Jake has already gone to the point where Serbia has mobilized for war, but it's Austria Hungary who actually declares war first. So we're gonna get to that at the end of my part. But Leopold Baron von Adrian Warburg sends this letter, and this is exactly what he says. It says I frequently hear expressed here, even among serious people, the wish that at last a final and fundamental reckoning should be had with the Serbs. The Serbs should first be presented with a number of demands, and in any case they should not accept these. Energetic measures should be taken. I take opportunity of every such occasion to advise quietly, but very impressively and seriously against too hastily steps. So that goes to Kaiser Wilhelm. And before I give you Kaiser Wilhelm's um, answer to getting that telegram, we need to talk about him to explain why he's such an insane character. So, Kaiser Wilhelm is the Emperor of Germany. He's born January 27th, 1859, to, at the time, Prince Frederick William III and Princess Victoria. And like we've already mentioned, Princess Victoria is Queen Victoria of Britain. It's her daughter. So Kaiser Wilhelm is the oldest of Queen Victoria's 42 grandchildren. That's an insane amount of grandkids.
42 grandchildren is a
42
lot of
grandkids.
grandchildren.
Yeah. So Kaiser Wilhelm is, half English, but his life begins very, very traumatically. So during his birth, the doctor delivering him realized that he was in breech position. So for people who don't know, that's when the baby is in the wrong way,
They're like
like in
feet
the womb.
first, right?
Yeah. So today we do C sections, but back then they're not doing this. So realizing how like severe this is, and realizing that the mild anesthetic that he gave to Princess Victoria, he realizes, okay, I think I got to fully anesthetize her and then use some medicine and chloroform to create these stronger contractions.
Is that
So
how
she
that
does.
works?
Yeah, so it works. So Wilhelm comes out, but he's coming out, obviously, he's coming out in the wrong direction. So his legs come out first, and his arm is like this in his head. And so when that's happening, right? So if you're just listening, his arms raised above his head and like right behind his head. And so the doctor, as he's pulling him out, he yanks that down. And when he yanks that down, he severs all of the nerves in his neck, and it leaves his left arm useless. So he has a deformed arm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's hard to tell in pictures, but he actually can't really use his left arm, so it's 6 inches shorter than his right arm. Pretty much completely useless.
It's hilarious, or it's not hilarious, but I know a guy who had that exact same thing. He was a pie cap guy.
You cannot start with "it's hilarious." Never mind, it's not hilarious. My friend or this guy I know has the same problem.
He's like he has like a tiny arm. He's got
Yeah,
like
so it's
it's not useless. It's just shorter
yeah.
and it was the same. I don't know if it was from a breach, but he got fucked up by his doctor when he was when he was being birthed.
Yeah, I think that's almost most of those people. It's going to be something like that. It's
Yeah, and
actually
he
so
just has like
essentially
a
the nerve.
tiny arm.
Yeah. So it gets worse than the arm. So he's hypoxic, or which basically means there's no oxygen getting to the little prince's brain, and they like it takes him a little bit basically to get the oxygen to go to his brain, and I think they smack him so hard on the ass that he cries, and he starts to breathe. But modern historians and like experts today would say the yanking of his like neck and head and the chloroform absolutely gave him some form of minor brain damage,
Uh,
especially with like his behavior. So he's incredibly erratic, incredibly like rash. He reminds me a lot of Nero, who we talked about in the last episodes, in the way that like his really weird relationship with his mother. Um, she is upset. She's not murderous like Nero's mom, but she loves her son. She does, but she's obsessed with solving this disfigured arm, or basically like making it so that it's not going to hold him back. So she she's like, you have to learn how to ride a horse. Like, there's no nobleman who doesn't know how to ride a horse. And so he's forced at like, I think literally like 4 to 6 years old. He's forced all day, all night to practice riding on a horse. And he just falls over and over and over and over. And we're talking falling off of a horse at 4 or 6 until he's finally able to like balance himself with just one arm. Again, like Nero, he's got a tutor, and this tutor does the same thing that Nero's tutor does, where he decides the Nero Wilhelm and his tutor start to like get this idea that the queen and prince are way too British, and like
are way too British.
Yeah, they just hold too many British sentiments and not Prussian sentiments. So he
Okay.
starts getting a real Prussian schooling. He joins the Prussian military. They kind of indoctrinate him and be like, your mom, like, you shouldn't be super influenced by your mom. She's too feminine. Like, you're a German. We're very masculine, right?
The
That they call
fatherland.
Germany the fatherland, right? Not the
Yeah.
motherland.
Yeah.
And he starts to idolize
Your
his
mom's a
great
bitch, kid.
grandfather.
You gotta stop talking to her.
Yeah, yeah. He idolizes his grandfather, right? So he kind of like fosters the idea of this like cult where of Wilhelm the Great, his granddad, being this like awesome military hero. By the time he's like 20 years old, his mother and his relationship is like falling apart. So he hates the fact that he's English. He's very, very resentful of the English. He blames the English for killing his father. So his dad, when Wilhelm the First dies, he takes over, and he is only the Kaiser for 99 days. His father has a really, really, really aggressive form of throat cancer, and so in the same year that he becomes
What was his father's name?
Frederick,
Frederick. Okay,
yeah,
Kaiser Frederick. Okay.
yeah, so he doesn't make it to the 100th day. He makes it to the 99th day, and in the same year that he becomes Kaiser, so does Wilhelm. But Wilhelm blames his mother. He for hiring English doctors, and that who pulled him out. That was an English doctor. I believe Frederick's doctors that were treating him for the cancer are English, and then he just blames his mother for being English, just for being English. Uh,
Okay.
like I think obviously he has all these problems. He's like really weird. He's got basically the first case of CTE, and
Is he like is he how like so he's a rat is he a decent guy? Is he a bad guy? Like
he's not bad. I mean, he's like, I mean, he's not a psychopath.
okay.
He's just a little slow would be like the best way to describe him. Like
Okay.
he's like he'll like tell the people like there'll be like a dignitary from another country, and he'll be like tell him like all these plans and basically like have like a manic episode and just like he's like I'm gonna take over this country and do this. He slaps some king on the ass like he's like that type of crazy. He's just like a loose cannon.
Oh, dude, that reminds me of there's some Danish king. He might be Swedish or Norwegian, but he would just jerk off. He would just sit on the throne and jerk. He would just go to town. All right,
I don't
sorry, I
think
just
the
had to put
Kaiser is
that out
doing
there.
this at this time. Kaiser's not jerking it.
He's not that crazy.
No, no, no. And I think one of the other reasons he doesn't like the English is I think George, his cousin, is like kind of a douche, like all the time to him. I think they make fun
Georgie.
of him. Yeah, Georgie. Also, like he's got a weird arm, so there's a lot to make fun of. So he just doesn't like Germany. So he assumes the throne of the Prussian Empire and becomes Kaiser Wilhelm II at 29 years old. I mentioned in the last episode, right, that World War One is like bad deals, and Germany kind of isolates themselves and like causes all these problems. And Wilhelm is the emperor for most of these decisions. So the first big thing, Otto von Bismarck, sort of the architect of the Prussian Empire, so the guy that actually gets the empire under like one banner. So all those German states in the south, uh, Berlin, like that's Otto von Bismarck's like brainchild. He kind of teamed up with Bismarck, excuse me, Wilhelm and Bismarck kind of teamed up went before he was king to like go against his parents, obviously because Bismarck kind of holds the same sentiment, like we need to like
Get rid of these
go
Brits.
away from the British, you know. But he finds himself quickly on the outs with Wilhelm, so they spar on basically everything. So this will be a shock, but Germany at the time is arguably like the most progressive country. They're
Socially?
incredibly. Say that again.
Socially progressive?
not only socially progressive but like economically progressive. Their Wilhelm is incredibly in favor of improving wages for working workers, improving all the working conditions, creating employee employer protections. Germany at the time has the largest social democrats, so their
Why
country
are
is
all the
based.
progressive people insane?
I don't know. I mean,
Because
yeah.
that's
Well,
or not insane.
he's
What's
not
his name wasn't insane.
super insane. He's just brash, brash and or just like brash and rash, both the ashes. Um, so right, so the both it's like a country of social democrats. So it's just Bernie Sanders everywhere. Um,
Gotcha.
but
Definitely not Democrats.
no,
No.
no, no. But right, him and Otto von Bismarck are just like not getting along, and this is something that Otto von Bismarck used to support, but just because like Wilhelm supports it, he goes against it. He's like, fuck that. Their relationship just continues to sour. At one point, Bismarck's party like loses control, and so Bismarck, without telling Wilhelm, like sides with essentially what used to be like his enemies in the parliament, and he sides with like the Catholic Party and all these other parties. And it's not that Wilhelm is like totally against these people, it's just that he hid it from Wilhelm. And Germany is very different from England in the fact that like they don't have a parliamentary system the way that England has one. Essentially, at the end of the day, Wilhelm does have the final say. Like they are a true constitutional. Is it constitutional monarchy or is that the other one?
England or Great Britain's a constitutional monarchy.
Yeah,
I'm assuming Germany is not.
yeah. So it's whatever the opposite of England is that he does get final say,
I guess it would be an absolute monarchy.
but he can't like get. I don't think he could get rid of all the laws, but like if he believed that the government was not serving the people, he can dissolve the government and then be like, do like okay, and here's new like elections, here's new stuff.
Okay. I
Which I
don't know
actually
what the
think,
fuck that would be
yeah,
called.
yeah, me neither. I'm also probably getting it wrong. And so eventually, Wilhelm finally has enough, and he outs Otto von Bismarck. Like again, like Nero. Nero outs his like longtime advisors, and he replaces him with a guy who we mentioned in the first episode, Caprivi, and that's the guy that Wilhelm works with to create the navy. Obviously, he isolates Britain by doing that. They have the most they have the largest navy and biggest naval power in Europe at the time, in the world, basically. They finally see Germany for the threat that it is. I mentioned that at one point, Germany and Russia did have an alliance that was from Otto von Bismarck, so essentially that's void. And instead of siding with Russia, Wilhelm says, okay, we'll go with Austria Hungary. Yada yada yada. All these things keep happening, and
Yeah.
back to the letter. Like I said, he's the first case of CTE. So in response to the foreign minister's message, where he says like be cautious, Wilhelm says, "Who authorized him to act that way? That's very stupid. None of this is his business.
That's very
It
stupid.
is solely Austria's matter what she plans." Here we also find the first of the much encouraging advice from Berlin to the ally in Vienna. The Serbs must be sorted, and that right soon.
He sounds like Donald Trump.
Yeah, a little bit. He's a little
That
wild.
sounds
He's
like a
out there.
Trumpism right there. That sounds like a Trump tweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
He is. He is. He honestly, he kind of is. He's like he snaps. He just randomly says something, and then he has to like backtrack it. Sometimes he doesn't bother to backtrack it. So you can kind of see right away, right? Austria has justification to attack, and Germany is hyping them up. So Austria realizes if this comes to war and Serbia has the securing of Russia, they're screwed if the Germans aren't backing them, right? That pan Slavic idea really freaks out Austria. And so they send an emissary to Germany, and on behalf of the Kaiser of Austria, which they also call it Kaiser, right? Franz Joseph, he asked for support, and more importantly, he wants to know Germany's position on how to deal with the Serbs. So this is the infamous blank check that Germany offers, and it's kind of the biggest blunder, right? It's basically they give an unchecked. They basically say no matter what you do, Austria, we're backing you.
And this is Kaiser Wilhelm's decision.
Yeah. Let's see. So he basically says, Germany's going to give your like this. I'm just paraphrasing, but he says Germany will give the full support to Austria. We know Russia's going to be hostile. We've prepared for years for this eventuality, and if Russia attacks you, don't worry. We stand by you 100%. And this is just like it just couldn't possibly be more stupid, right? Because essentially, it's telling Austria, go fucking wild, do whatever the fuck you want.
It seems so short-sighted because like I guess it's like hindsight is 2020. Like I'm looking back on it now and it's like, well, Russia's allied with France, who's on
Yeah,
your west, and then there's still England, who's not really happy with you getting like super big, and then they like he literally like with the I don't know if we're getting into the Schlieffen plan today, which is just like the best fucking name for a plan ever.
I
It's right up
love
there
the
with Blitzkrieg.
Schlieffen.
They're fucking sick at naming attack
Yes,
plans.
it's quite possibly the silliest plan ever. I think we'll save that, but I will. We'll do a very cursory action. So it's kind of clear, right, that like every one of these countries has planned for all of these situations, right? They have made all these plans, and Germany, whether it's correct or not, identifies that if they get into a war and Russia backs Serbia and France backs Russia, they have to fight a war on two fronts. And so in their head, they say France is probably the easier war to win right away. Because you have Russia's just going to have way more people, and there's like all the other Slavic countries that can possibly join in. They're like very very rapidly industrializing, and so they say what we'll do is we'll go to France and we'll just defeat them in 6 weeks, which is like the idea that your whole battle plan rests on defeating a country in six
To
weeks.
be fair, they do end up doing that like 20 years later.
They do. You're
I
right.
mean, granted, there's like massive differences in like the technology at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, so the Germans in the late 1930s and 1940s, if they had the Schlieffen plan, they would have nailed it.
Well, didn't they basically do the Schlieffen plan? They just went because they had the French had the what is it called, the something line. I can't remember the name of it, but they set up a line of fortifications down the east of France, and they didn't protect the north. So then the Blitzkrieg was literally the same thing. It was go through Belgium
Yeah,
and then head south and then just shit on them, which is what they did.
yeah. I don't remember. I'll have to get more into World War
Yeah, I'm
II,
I'm getting out of I'm
but
getting like 20 years
you're
later.
getting 20 years ahead. But again, it's 20 years, right? And it's
Yeah.
1914. There's fucking no cars for them to get an army with. There's no planes that they can take.
They had planes.
Yeah, but they don't have like they don't.
Yeah,
But
they
in
didn't,
World War
yeah, they
II,
didn't,
they have transport planes.
yeah.
So they it's just this bad plan, but right. So they give Austria this guarantee, and Austria still sticks with the idea that they made, where they'll go, okay, we'll give them demands to Serbia. You mentioned it, so we won't go back into it. They give them ridiculous demands. The ultimatum with the 10 part ultimatum, and then Serbia responds on that final day. So they give them that ultimatum, and they say, Serbia, you have until July 25th at 5 p.m. to respond to that. So actually, Serbia's response is pretty well. It's very very like masterfully put together.
Yeah, I read some sort of quote about like I think the British are like this is like the most conciliatory I don't even know what that word means, but that's the quote.
Yeah,
This is the most conciliatory response from a small power given to a great power I've ever seen, or something along
yeah.
those
So
lines.
it's not only that, it's enough. It's such a good letter that Wilhelm says, I quote, "I guess we don't need to go to have a war." Like it's that well planned, or it's that well crafted. And it's,
Right.
it makes a ton of concessions in the ultimatum. And obviously, Austria Hungary never intended to, for them to agree to it. And so I think they're a little held back, taken back. But within minutes of the response on July 25th being handed to the Austrians, the ambassador tells the Serbian prime minister, "Yeah, we're severing ties with you guys." 2 days later, not like literally minutes later, and then 2 days later, the Austrians declare war on the Serbians, and so that's basically my part for the Central Powers for now, because there's just so much more to get into.
Yeah. There's not a ton like the English. I could go into a bit on the.
Let's save it because their like part kind of comes in when the war has already started.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like beginning of August. They kind of like get more
yeah,
involved, which I think that people consider it a part of the July crisis.
yeah.
But
I am ready to stop talking about Austria and Serbia right now because I'm ready to go into the guys that actually matter.
the fuck. Oh wait, imagine you're just like you're some Danish guy and you're in a king's court, and then he's just cranking his hog.
God,
Complete. What are the Danes and the Swedes doing at this time?
making Legos,
Making Legos. Okay. Do they
coming
not
up
get
with the
involved? They
first
have
like
to get involved, right?
I don't know. I don't. I know so much more about Germany, England, and France. I don't even know that much about like Russia because eventually Russia is out of the war because the Bolsheviks killed the Tsar.
Yeah, they kill all of them. They kill
Spoiler
the
alert for
entire
anyone.
Romanov dynasty. They slaughter all of them.
Yeah, they kill them all. So
Yeah.
like I don't even know that much. It's also like we're America's so like Western European focused and just like the way that we talk about stuff like World War I and World War II that like we always learned. I think it's always focused on like this whenever America gets involved, the countries that America are working with is like all you learn.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I
this
mean?
podcast is hopefully we branch out from European
Yeah.
history, but like that's probably going to be the majority of the episodes. I would imagine is
Uh,
European and American history.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because like I don't know a ton of like the it. I kind of like everything that I know is kind of to the Middle East. Like I don't know a lot of the history like to the like east of that unless
Or
it
below.
involves America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, or
I
like
agree.
some Japanese history is cool. I like
Yeah.
Japanese history.
Um I think that's probably where we want to stop in terms of like talking about the July crisis for today's episode. Uh, that's episode 3. Episode 4 is probably going to take another break, and then we'll come back in another episode for World War I. So, um, all right, guys, I'll see you guys. Jake, you want to say anything
Sponsored
before
by
we
Palantir.
sign off on the actual podcast?
Sponsored by Palantir, guys.
Sponsored by Palantir. Drone strikes in the Middle East. The best thing to do to make people side with you and end terrorism is to blow
Yes,
up
everybody
rocket
loves
schools.
that.
That's what
We
people
need
love.
the social credit score. We need the
Social
Palantir
credit score.
social.
Kaiser Wilhelm has a weird arm.
He does have a
Bye.
weird arm.